Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast, 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Pilares. The San Francisco 49ers are back in the Bay after an almost week-long trip in Las Vegas for joint practices and their very first preseason game against the Raiders. And Lindsay, before we recap Sunday's game, let's start with the practices. This is where we got to see the first team offense and defense at work. What did you think about how they performed against another team?
I think the ultimate goal was to be able to face an opponent that is not on your team. So to go against another first team offense and first team defense. And we heard head coach Kyle Shanahan say it, a lot of valuable reps were had throughout the week in both of those joint practices and also in that preseason game. The joint practices obviously were more geared towards the projected starters. And I think that was good for everyone. That was where we saw all of Brock Purdy's snaps for the week since he did not suit up for yesterday's game, and just got to see different looks and go against a defense that he's not used to going against every single day. Obviously, it wasn't perfect, but right now it's the preseason, and I think that's something we all need to remember as the 49ers continue to ramp up for that regular season.
Yes, definitely. And those joint practices led up to Sunday's game at Allegiant Stadium, where the team lost to the Raiders 34-7. Not the outcome they were looking for, but head coach Kyle Shanahan, like you said that there were very valuable game reps, and the coaches are able to truly evaluate how some of their younger players performed on the field. What was your biggest takeaway from Sunday's game?
I think one of the things that I was really looking at, and it's been a subject of conversation throughout the week, is who is going to be the 49ers return specialist, at least for that first portion of the regular season, with wide receiver Ray McLeod out with a fractured wrist, or broken wrist, I should say. And I think we got a lot of valuable reps to look at for wide receiver Ronnie Bell. He's a rookie out of Michigan. He's a seventh round draft pick. And we've seen flashes of big development from him throughout the course of training camp as a wide receiver. We got to see him for an entire half as a return specialist. So he was involved in both the punt return and kick return part of yesterday for the entire first half. And he looked really comfortable. Not a lot of huge yardages on the return, both of the punts that he fielded, but on the kick returns he was able to rack up 57 yards. He just looked like he knew what he was doing, and that's because he's had a lot of experience doing this at Michigan, so definitely a viable option. Then we saw cornerback Deshaun Jameson, who's an undrafted rookie out of Texas. He also got his chance in the second half. And then we also saw running back Jeremy McNichols get a couple opportunities as well in that second half. So it looks like there are options, good ones at that, for the 49ers. So that's something I definitely zeroed in on. I think we saw a lot of good things from cornerback Ambry Thomas, who definitely spent some time away from the field in the back end of that 2022 season because he had this lingering ankle injury. But in his first game back in action, a really, really solid first half for him. He had two big pass breakups, and then he was in on a run stop with Kerry Hyder Jr. To force a turnover on downs for the Raiders. Those were the two people that really popped for me. Obviously, a lot of eyes were on the quarterback competition. Trey Lance really settled in the second quarter and was able to actually connect with Ross Dwelley for a very unconventional touchdown, but it was a touchdown. Definitely got points on the board. And then I saw just some really good chemistry with wide receiver Chris Conley, somebody that he's had a chance to have a lot of reps with over training camp. So I think, again, a lot of good things coming out of this first preseason opener, despite not having the final outcome be exactly what everyone wanted.
All right, now let's break this game down quarter to quarter. Trey Lance was in to start at quarterback for the first half, and it was a little bit of a slow start for the offense. They had some good drives, but couldn't really capitalize in the red zone. But this is where the defense made some highlights. Clelin Ferrell got a sack on his former team. What did you think of that?
It was great. I think it was a good first, kind of first milestone to hit in a 49ers uniform for him. I think one thing to note, and something I spoke about with him in his first free agency interview, first day at headquarters, was that he has a very unique sack celebration. It's a fishing pole kind of movement that actually honors his dad, and he got to display that on the field. So I thought that was really cool. And again, just like a first good statement play for the San Francisco 49ers defense. He's a newcomer. It probably felt really good to do that, on the turf of his former team. Seems like there's a lot of love there, but the competition always amps up. So that was really good. And like I mentioned before, Ambry Thomas just had a lot of splash plays, and I think was featured very well in that first and second quarter.
You spoke to head coach Kyle Shanahan about third-year cornerback Ambry Thomas and his performance. What did the head coach think of his game?
Yeah, I think he said he made some really good use of his opportunities, right? And so he's someone that does have quite a few eyes on because of just the limited reps in his second season. So it's all about just continuing the development. He had a really, really good back end of his rookie year. And now that he's back to health and back to fitness, he is looking really solid, right? He's giving the 49ers what they wanted to see from him as the third year corner. So I think a lot of good stuff to build on for him in this first preseason game.
And in the first half is where the unpredictable touchdown was scored, and it went pretty viral. The NFL socials accounts brought some attention to that play. Can you break down what exactly happened there?
Yeah, Trey Lance fired a ball just over the middle and into the end zone, and his pass actually got deflected by Raiders cornerback Duke Shelley. And then off of that deflection, in comes tight end Ross Dwelley to snag the ball for the team and secure 6 points. And then, of course, rookie kicker Jake Moody came in, got the extra points. So 7 points on the board for the 49ers. I've definitely never seen a touchdown quite like this. A little bit of luck involved, and quarterback Trey Lance talked about it in his post-game presser. And what was going through his mind? It was like a no, 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 and then yes, he sees Ross Dwelley secure the ball. So definitely an exciting thing to watch and something to build off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was pretty funny to hear about what was going through Trey's mind. The yes, 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 then oh no, then yes. And that was pretty much the thought of all of the faithful in the stands. But in the second half is where quarterback Sam Darnold took over. What did you think about how he handled the 49ers offense?
Yeah, I think with Sam Darnold, it seems like the 49ers were trying to be cognizant of just the offensive line as well, and who was in pass protection there. But I think he did really, really good. He was in for the third quarter and the early part of that fourth quarter and was able to lead the 49ers into Las Vegas territory. Unfortunately, just some of the scoring opportunities didn't end up the way that they should have because the 49ers had a turnover on downs and then there was a fumble and that missed field goal. So we didn't see the points materialize from his drives, but he was able to move the offense in a way that was encouraging for head coach Kyle Shanahan.
And if you were to pick out any player who was your MVP of this game, who would you give that title to?
Oh my goodness. That's tough. But I already talked about him, but I would say wide receiver Ronnie Bell. He's someone that for me just really jumped off the page out of this game because not only did he handle his punt return opportunities, he also was very active in the pass game on Sunday. And again, this is a seventh round pick that's, wanting to make this team, wanting to make that 53-man roster. And that is a definite possibility. He, fielded the punt returns and the kick returns, and then also had 3 receptions for 57 yards in the pass game, and actually had a tipped ball. But head coach Kyle Shanahan said that was actually his best route. But, sometimes things don't fall your way. And again, the head coach not concerned about that. This is all about development, right? And we saw good things out of Ronnie Bell, and he's really making a case for himself to make that 53-man roster.
Nice. Well, that will do it for today. Be sure to look out for all of the 49ers preseason content on 49ers.com. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this preseason update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.